Kentucky, what is your state motto, your slogan?
We are the... Wildcats. We like beer. We like titties, and we're having one hell of a time.
It's the Catican, fellas. Kentucky won 98-67 over the mighty Minnesota State University. How are we feeling?
Good. I think obviously it wasn't, a shot fest like the last game. It was a well-coached team and seemed like a really good team. They hung in there with the starting rotation there for a while, and a few of those runs, and it kind of puts the game away. But I think it was good to see the resiliency and the commitment to the flow that Mark Pope obviously is going to stick to for the rest of the season. I think we saw some good stuff.
Yeah, if your name wasn't Jackson Robinson, you didn't hit multiple threes, which was kind of surprising. But at the end of the day, it was a respectable team percentage, so that's encouraging. And it was nice to see Kirk Risa play. It was nice to see Trent Noah get some run. Just pretty good game. I'm so ready for the season to start, though.
Same. I thought I kind of liked in the beginning when we weren't hitting a bunch of threes out the gate and just sort of forced us to just stay engaged with the offense and stay engaged with the game and sort of just get us tested a little bit early in the season here. I mean, that's a legitimately very good, D2 team, but still a very good team. And I think they beat a lot of Division I teams, to be honest. I think they're not going to be the worst team that we play from here moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. We saw a lot of Brandon Garrison, which was fun. It was an experience. I think that we're going to see a lot of growth out of him through the year. I don't think he was expecting to play as much as he did tonight because Amari went out. The word that we've heard so far is just precautionary, keep out, right, and not anything serious. So
yeah, he even before the end of the first half, he came back out and he was on a stationary bike. So look, he might have just tweaked something with a knee or with an ankle, but fortunately, nothing to be too scared of. Need him for the Duke game.
Yeah.
For sure.
We played Carr at the 5 a little bit, which was a look I don't think we got much of the other night in the other exhibition, and that was good. The offense was humming along. And the thing that was huge to me, one thing is that with both Patino and Cal, they are like bottom in the country in 2 foul participation. You get 2 fouls in the first half, you sit till halftime, no matter what. And Carr picked up 2 early, sat for a little bit, and then came back in the first half, which was just a cool, different strategical thing that Pope does. And I kind of like it. It really is a bummer when your really good players pick up 2 cheap fouls, then just sit and sit and sit. And then you were in a hole, and it's like, well, maybe we can dig out when we get them, but also we might not be in the hole if we just continued playing them a little bit. So happy to see that.
Shows a lot of trust
Right.
that he would have in Andrew Carr that he's not going to pick up that third foul. I thought it was
I
really.
don't think he did.
The second one was very cheap. I think that he nailed it. Yeah, but exhibition.
He never picked up the third. Actually, all game finished with 2. That's good.
I thought it was interesting too because when Minnesota State was keeping it close there for a while, Pope's not calling any sort of timeouts. Like he just wants to see his guys play through it and just have them get tested early. You could tell that he probably wasn't sweating it, and therefore that didn't trickle down to the rest of the team because even the team didn't seem like they were playing panicked or anything like that. They just sort of stuck with the flow of the offense. Played really hard on D. I mean, they were jumping around all over the place. They were constantly jumping in passing lanes. And even when they didn't get the steal from it, they recovered very well. And without Amari Williams even protecting the rim, we were still playing some very, very solid defense. A turn that I thought was interesting was Carr picked up the second foul. There's a little exchange there. Carr picks up the second foul. Then we had a turnover and an easy basket for them. And then they cut the lead to 5, and then immediately Jackson Robinson goes down and hits a 3. Like it's just you have to be able to punch back like that. and I liked what I saw.
Yeah, I think that shows a little bit of the familiarity with the Pope offense or whatever. That the Jackson Robinson's the most continuity we have really with this team. So you can tell he might end up being the guy that is steadying the boat, so to speak. And he also just looks amazing. I mean, people thought he was going to be our best player. He looks great. I think Otega Owe looks like maybe going to be our second leading scorer.
I
Kirk
think
Risa got some time tonight.
Yeah, I think the big advantage, especially in a situation like that, is with the advantage with having these transfers coming in is these are seasoned players, and this isn't the first time that they've played in a tight game, and maybe something's gone awry, like an injury or someone got in foul trouble or something like that, and they just kept their head down and played through it. I think that really showed with when we needed a basket. I don't think Jackson was even on the floor, and then Lamont Butler's just like, it's Lamont Butler time. And he took over and had some really tough baskets, and just great to see. Really encouraging in a completely different way than the first game, because they really showed that they could get themselves out of a bind.
Yeah, it shows. Go ahead.
They in the first half, they Minnesota State had it as close as 20-22, and then we reeled off 18 in a row from about 7 minutes left to about 2 minutes left. So 5 minutes holding them scoreless, which is great. And in that sequence, we had Butler free throw, Noah 3-pointer, Butler 3-pointer, Robinson 3-pointer, two Carr free throws, Robinson 3-pointer, Robinson 3-pointer. So I think if we can just do that in some games, have a sequence like that where you reel off a couple, and they don't. We may have missed a couple in there too. I don't know. I don't see that right here, but like if you can do that, if you can defend and go on a little bit of a run, you know, you can say, hey, we did this against a D2 team. But if you can defend against a D1 team and you can go on runs like that against a D1 team, then that's a great way to take over a game.
Yeah, and you're never out ever.
Right.
So it feels like, I mean, this was not a close game. And a lot of our probably lower minutes guys got a lot of time, but it was an opportunity to play a different style ball game than they played last week. And there's a lot of coaching moments, I think, that Mark Pope is going to capitalize off of this film that's going to be effective. And it's also going to be a look. You guys were probably, got punched in the mouth a little bit here at the beginning because you weren't thinking that this was going to be as much of a game as it is. And then what'd you do? It's like you kept taking your threes. And we put it away before half. So, yeah,
and I think it was just a matter of
strategy.
We were still getting good looks from three. Like I can't recall off the top of my head a three that we took that I'm like, I don't know about that one. Mm-hmm. Every single one of them, I was just like, that's a good shot. It just happened to not go down this time. And I like that the confidence wasn't shaken because they kept shooting them.
The worst,
it'll balance out.
Yeah, the worst shot from three was by Jackson on one that he hit. It was that back corner. Yeah.
The full Tayshaun on that one.
Yeah. It was beautiful.
One thing I thought too that was kind of encouraging, I don't think Brandon Garrison's going to be a huge 3-point threat. He took one, he missed it, but then later when we were watching, he was open and he was calling for the ball. He wanted to shoot it again, and it's even if that's not really the biggest part of your game, when you're open and you're actively trying to tell your teammates, "Hey, get me the ball." That's good. And I didn't watch him a ton last year, so maybe he was always willing to take them. But either way, that's a good sign.
Yeah, and if you hit 25% of them, you still gain the respect.
You still draw a defender.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there was a lot of stuff that didn't go exactly the way they thought it was going to go, but that plan B or the just keep doing what we're committed to here, and it'll work out. And it's just a nice little exhibition of what we can do in all of those situations. It just gives us more scenarios to coach from, and more experience for the end of the bench guys towards the end of the game. I thought good basketball.
I thought this was also a good exhibition for the fans because it's really easy to watch that Kentucky Wesleyan exhibition, and you hear about Pope and his offense and the threes and the speed and everything, and you see it in that game. I think it's good for us as fans to see a game where we're not shooting 50% on enormous volume. We're shooting a more realistic volume. I mean, I think the goal is 35 threes a game. This was 37, and we didn't hit half of them. And that's something we'll have to get used to. I mean, we can have the best shooters in the world. People have off nights, teams have off nights. And so, I said this earlier, but for Jackson, this was not a great shooting performance. And we as fans have to get used to that and also knowing that the team can win despite that. I mean, this is still a 31-point victory, even with.
You said for
Yeah.
Jackson it wasn't?
I said for everyone but Jackson, it was pretty poor.
Okay.
Yeah,
of one,
31-point
of
victory
one.
that could have been more. Like, they're still coaching exhibition style where they're trying to get their looks and they're trying to. It's like the game never got in the other team's control or ever, and they were hitting threes at the end like crazy. So really, I think that the defensive performance was very encouraging because it's obviously a team that can get hot from three. And they stifled that up until the very end, So you hold teams down below 70, and you are constantly hovering around 100. That's a good ass team.
Mankato was 8 of 14 from three in the second half, so they turned it on and made this look a lot closer than it was otherwise.
And
I think we ended the half on a 21-3 run into the first half. Just sort of rode that wave from then on out. In the first half, there our 5 players on the court for a good amount of time was Colin Chandler, Lamont Butler, Trevor Noah, Oteka Owe, and Kobe Brea. What an odd 5! But talk about spacing and talk about guys who are just getting out and running. It's a new era of Kentucky basketball, guys.
Yeah.
If that's the 5 that we're running with. I was having a blast.
Yeah.
I was surprised to see Noah play 17 minutes. I mean, that's almost half the game.
I don't think anyone would
Carl
have thought that he would get in before Travis Perry would in any game. But I think it's size.
Yeah. I mean, I think whether it's because Carr was out or Carr was shifted to the 5, we needed someone big enough to play 3 or 4 minutes, and so I think that's where it came from. But he didn't look totally out of his depth either. That's encouraging for a freshman who was sort of a lower rated guy. I think we all believe he can put it together and be a real contributor. But at least in the first major minutes he's played, looked the part. I don't think his counting stats were that great, but he certainly didn't look bad.
And in the last game, I mean, he was hitting threes. So
yeah. I was happy with Brandon Garrison's overall performance. I think what was underrated, and I didn't know this about him, he looked good passing the ball. He had a couple dimes in there, and that's supposed to be the Amari Williams spot. It's nice to see that if Amari gets in foul trouble or something along those lines, you can have Brandon step in there and still play that specific role in this offense. It's encouraging.
He's got a really high ceiling. I mean, there was just a few sequences where he didn't finish, and had he finished all of those the way that he could have, we would just be talking about him tonight, because that would have been something that we were not expecting at all. So to have that level of athleticism to come in and develop, I think it just goes to show Mark Pope knows what he's doing, building the team.
He ended up 6 of 9, so 12 points, 4 rebounds, an assist, a steal, and a block. No turnovers.
That steal was funny.
Yeah. That's not a bad line though.
That was Mr. Fantastic Steal. Long ass arms
and a monster dunk too.
Yeah.
I was also really excited to finally see Kirk Risa play. That was good. Again, counting stats weren't great, but he was really, really pushing the ball a lot. Huge passes, but also just sometimes taking the ball, dribbling at a full sprint. Really, really moving the ball well. Ended up just made one 3-pointer, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists. So
Yeah, his
that's
passes, he had some pretty
yeah,
ones in there too.
yeah.
Now, like ESPN Plus, you're not getting like those good replays, but yeah, the no look stuff that he did,
He had a
he's going
couple,
to be
maybe
flashing.
2 back to back.
Yeah. So yeah, we saw good stuff out of everybody, and we saw like as a team, you know that you can get in these tight portions of the game, but when you are running that style of offense and you're executing the defense at the level that they're executing it right now, you can put a game away fast. That demoralizing to get to be in it, being Minnesota State, and to be kind of like feel like you belong, and then 5 minutes of an 18-2 run is brutal. And Jackson Robinson just like calling the shot over and over and over again. I think there's going to be games like that. There's going to be games where that is what has to happen. So getting that early looks and still putting them away. I mean, we were never worried about losing this game.
Right, right. And nor should we be.
Right.
But
Yeah. I mean, that team is not a team that a lot of Power 5 coaches would schedule for an exhibition match. The
well,
best DTD. You're just asking for it.
I read earlier, I forget what the source is on this. Someone said that Pope called up their coach and just said, "Hey, you guys won the D2 national championship last year. I want to play you." And so it's not like this is something he was locked into from a schedule perspective. He saw that, you know, we can play a D2 team. This is the best option that there is, and so he pursued it and got it. And that's
Yeah.
real quick. I also want to highlight Ortega Owe, 7 for 8 from the field for 15 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, no turnovers, 3 steals in 20 minutes.
And he's smooth. That
Right.
the finishing from it's like from the 3-point line, and when he's went out fast break, it's like it's good stuff. It's really good stuff to see.
I was led to believe that we weren't going to have somebody who is capable of driving the lane, and he looks good doing it. Lamont a couple times didn't finish, but Lamont drove pretty well, got to the basket with ease. It almost looked like he was surprised he made it to the basket untouched. But that's all pretty good. We ended up with 8 turnovers, one of which was the shot clock violation at the end.
So
Uh,
we only had 7 real turnovers, because I thought that like in the first 10 minutes we had like 5.
we ended up with 8. We have
Okay, that's
Robinson was
growth.
the only person with more than one.
That's growth. Yeah, but yeah, if we only had a guy that could go get a bucket.
Yeah, if only, man.
Yeah, exciting stuff. I think we saw the things that we needed to see, and now I'm excited to start playing some real basketball. And then it's Duke, like quickly.
Quickly.
We're right there.
We're going to be there to watch them win by. I think that they'll beat Duke in between Minnesota State and Kentucky Wesleyan. I think it'll fall somewhere in that range, because I just don't think Duke is as well put together as that Minnesota State team, well coached. So
I don't think Duke's had a win as big as R2. So
it's true. Yeah. I don't think they're even like televising their exhibition games. But it's gonna be a good game. I still think that you have the experience in Kentucky. You have a level of conditioning, I think, that is probably uncommon at the beginning of the year, and dudes that obviously are being coached and listening and executing. So we've got a lot to be excited about.
well, with that, I think we'll call that a preseason, and we have the real game starting next week, boys. I'm fired up.
Bring
Yeah.
on Wright State.
More like wrong state.
Oof. Is
Wright State and Bucknell.
Is that the airplane place?
I never put that together.
Is
Is it in Ohio? I don't know. North Carolina? Somebody has planes.
It is in Ohio, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so it's probably by Wright Patterson, I would imagine.
Named in
Airplane.
honor of aviation pioneers Orville and Wilbur Wright. Who
What
knew?
a bull.
Learn something new every day.
Context clues.
I didn't even know it was in Ohio, so you had the context.
Hey, Ohio. There's a bunch of presidents or something. And Joe Burrow.
So true. Well, that'll do it, boys. Thank you for
Awesome.
watching the Catican.
I think that maybe we should mention that this cadence that we're following of instant reacts with a short react, and then we'll have like a weekly, more of a deep dive pod style stuff, something to go along with it. So those of our many listeners, just wanted to keep them informed.
Very cool.
Cool.
All right, with that,
All right,
please
love you. Good night.
like and subscribe. It's been the Catican. Go Cats.
I'm drunk.